The man stared down at the faint yellow glow that came from the white box in front of him. It hummed slightly, and he impatiently drummed his unkempt fingernails across the granite countertops as he waited for the microwave to finish. He was breaking the cardinal rule of tea-making, heating up a mug of water in the microwave, but he had other business to attend to that he deemed far more important than tea-making blasphemy. As soon as the microwave dinged, he wasted no time in retrieving his steaming mug. He flinched as the ceramic handle burned into his fingertips, but he didn't care. With an Earl Grey tea bag and a dash of sugar, he was on his way back through his flat to his study. Well, he would like to consider it a study, when it was really just a nook in his bedroom that he worked out of. When he arrived back at his computer after finding his way through the maze of dirty clothes on his floor, he set the mug down amongst the other rubbish that littered his desk. Sweet wrappers, old receipts, dirty plates, crumbs from God knows when, and an assortment of junk that all seemed to blend together in the darkness. He had to shove these objects out of the way to make room for the newest addition to his collection. The mug easily blended in with the other mugs that had claimed his desk as their home from the previous weeks. The man stared down at his bright computer screen, which was the only light source in his room. Films had given him the false impression that writer's block was crumbled up papers everywhere, creating a sea of white throughout the room. Papers on the desk, papers in the bin, papers overflowing onto the floor. But his reality was a dark room with curtains drawn and 8 Word documents on his screen, all of them with nothing worthwhile to say. He had believed a tea break would help. It was a chance to stretch his legs and enjoy the sweetness of the tea that would hopefully unblock his imagination. Instead, he had just wasted his time. As the man looked at the screen, all he desperately wanted to do was write and have his creativity flow out of him and finally get something decent down onto the page. But still nothing came to him. Rage began to form in his chest, a heavy pressure building from weeks of staring at these documents, all containing different variations of the same story, a story he had believed to have incredible potential that would be his ticket to success. Instead, he was getting nowhere, and he not only believed that he had failed as a writer, but he had failed himself. Beyond frustrated, he grabbed the handle of the nearest dirty teacup and launched it across the room and watched as it smashed into his door. He stared, frozen as the pieces of ceramic rained down onto his wooden floor. His anger diminished as the last few shards bounced to a halt. Regret was lodged in his throat, and he slowly stood up and crossed the room, careful not to step on the broken fragments. Only one large chunk of the teacup remained, and he cautiously picked it up as to not cut himself on the sharp piece. He examined the red floral watercolor design that his mother had painted on it ever so carefully so many years ago. In that moment, the man felt a swarm of emotions he had not felt in weeks as he stared down at the memory of his mother that he had destroyed so carelessly, a memory that he had cherished over the years. With the shard still in his hand, he made his way back to the desk, abandoning the mess he had made. He decided he would pick up the pieces later. He sat back at his desk and took a deep breath. Normally his mind would wander, but he forced it to listen to him and cooperate. And with one move of his mouse, he opened up Word document 9, titled it The Teacup, and finally began to write.